Hello, Diocese of the Rio Grande. This is your weekly update for the week of Proper 11, the week ending July 25th, 2020. Today is the feast day of St. James the Apostle, and it is also the day that the Reverend Deacon Regina Hurley will be ordained to the Sacred Order of Priests in Christ's one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. Regina will serve the parish of St. Francis Rio Rancho as the Priest Associate for Elder Care, which is such a wonderful match for her gifts and interests in ministry. Regina has such a kind and compassionate heart. She listens deeply and brings a deep sense of spiritual wisdom to every congregation. Regina is the kind of person that when you talk to her, she listens and she thinks, and there's a pause, and then she says something profound, moving, and meaningful. Join us right here at 4:30 Mountain Time for the ordination to the priesthood of Regina Hurley. In this weekly update, we're going to talk about some plans for an exciting new convention and a special convention in a parking lot. I'm going to ask for your prayers to help us discern the future of the Diocese of the Rio Grande in the face of our economic difficulties. I'm going to give you the heads up about an exciting new learning opportunity about the doctrine of discovery, indigenous peoples and their relationship with Europeans in America that's coming your way in January, sponsored by the New Mexico Conference of Churches. And I'm going to give you an update about some changes to the diocesan website that you can expect coming in August. Diocesan Convention is going to be a little different this year. We're going to do a virtual convention. Now, that might seem difficult enough, but actually it's a little bit trickier even than figuring out how to move convention, which we're used to doing face-to-face, online. And here's the reason. The Constitution of the Diocese of the Rio Grande and the canons of our diocese do not expressly permit a virtual diocesan convention. And so we are going to have to specially authorize a virtual diocesan convention. Well, that should be pretty easy, right? I mean, can't we just have a mail-in vote or maybe a big conference call and we all just decide, hey, let's have a virtual convention this year? I wish it were that easy. After consulting the good people at Robert's Rules of Order, that organization that brings you the book Robert's Rules of Order, but also makes sure that all organizations are run in a way that is transparent and democratic and healthy, that organization has made it clear that just because of COVID-19, that doesn't mean you can just throw all your rules out the window. So if your organization's rules of order do not permit a virtual convention, you can't have one unless and until you gather in convention to authorize a virtual convention. So that's what we're going to do. And I'm kind of excited about it. Here's the way it's going to work. Our chancellors have figured out a very practical and exciting way for us to authorize that convention. We're going to gather on a Saturday in September in a huge parking lot. People are going to drive in from all over the diocese representing the 4 deaneries. We're going to make sure that we have a quorum in both the lay order and the clergy order. And we're going to gather together in a parking lot for about 20 minutes to vote on one proposition. We are going to authorize a virtual convention for the Diocese of the Rio Grande. Wait a minute, Bishop, what are you talking about? Are you telling me that I have to drive from Farmington to somewhere in the travel center of the diocese for a 20-minute meeting? Are you saying I have to drive from Fort Stockton or Marfa or even El Paso all the way into somewhere in central New Mexico in order to vote for one item? No, my friends, that's not what we're saying. We have to have a quorum in the lay order and a quorum in the clergy order for a special convention to be legit. And that's what we're proposing. We want to make sure that we have enough people coming into that parking lot from enough deaneries and enough parishes in order for us to have a legally valid quorum that will make sure that the virtual convention can happen. So if you're in one of the far-flung corners of the diocese, it's all right. We'll take care of doing this parking lot thing on your behalf so that you can participate fully in the virtual convention. Bishop, You are driving me nuts. This is making a mountain out of a molehill. Why do we have to do this? Can't we just authorize the virtual convention at the next time we get together in person? Yes, we could. But here's the problem with that. This year we have to make some important decisions like passing a budget and electing personnel to important committees like Standing Committee and the trustees, like electing people to the discipline board of the diocese. And if we elect those people and pass that budget in a technically not legit virtual online situation, even if later we ratify that in person, the time between we make those decisions and elect those people until we actually can gather in person to ratify that, during that whole period of time, anybody for any reason could cast questions about whether or not the people we've elected have legitimate authority to make the decisions they need to make, and whether or not the budget that we are going to need to spend is actually a legitimate budget. And unfortunately, who knows how long it will be before we can get together in a physical convention safely. We hope that in 2021 we'll gather again for a convention the way we always have in the past. But if we can't, we need to make sure that we are able to have a virtual convention when that is what we need to do. So that's why this parking lot convention is so important, and why we're asking you to drive to meet us in the parking lot in order to vote yes on the virtual convention. Now, we could look at this and say, what a pain, I gotta drive 6 hours in a day just to be there to vote on one thing. And it kind of is a pain. But we can also look at it as an exciting historic thing that we had to do and make it fun. So, we're going to have a special parking lot session of the convention of the Diocese of the Rio Grande. And if you are a delegate to this year's convention, guess what? You're a delegate to 2 conventions. One's going to be in a parking lot, and the other one's going to be online. Folks, Corona Land is a tough place to live in, so we might as well make the best of it. And we're going to do it with a joyful heart and a festive attitude, because it is of vital importance that we have the convention this year. It's critical that we have that convention in a way that keeps everybody safe from the coronavirus. And it's important that we do the business of the diocese transparently, openly, in the broad light of day, and where everybody can participate in the democratic way that we have designed it to work. So we're going to have a virtual convention this year, and we're going to have a parking lot special convention to authorize the virtual convention. Might as well not grumble. Let's have some fun. As you know, we in the diocese are working on our 2021 budget, and our work this year on next year's budget also involves a strategic look at what God is calling us to do in the long-term and the short-term future. You've been participating in the Deanery meetings, and the last of the 4 Deaneries meets this morning in just a little bit. I want to thank you all for participating, and I want to say to you, keep your comments coming. This decision has not yet been made, but we've got to make a decision in the next month or 2. So please get your information in, the concerns you have, the ideas you have, so that the trustees of the diocese and the diocesan council can have that input as we work together to make important decisions for the future of the diocese. Do you think we can keep both the Bosque Center and Bishop's Ridge and adapt our diocesan budget and our diocesan priorities to support those 2 hospitality businesses? Do you think we should put the Bosque Center on the market in order to keep Bishop's Ridge? Do you think we should put Bishop's Ridge on the market in order to keep the Bosque Center? Or do you think we should put them both on the market, take those funds, and use them for ministry both now and in perpetuity? These are the 4 scenarios we've been asking the diocese to consider as we plan our future together. This is a process of spiritual discernment, by which I mean we're not just trying to make a business decision. If this were just a business decision, it would be pretty clear what we needed to do. But this is not just a business decision. This is spiritual discernment about the work God is calling us to do in the future and who God is calling us to be as a diocese in the future. And so I'm asking today for your prayers. For your input, yes. For your opinions, yes. But especially for your prayers. As we together try to listen to God's will and to do that together. As we've said in the presentations, none of the four scenarios are all that easy. All of them will involve some significant transition in the diocese. All of them will create new opportunities as well. And so sometimes in life, when you're up against it and things are difficult, sometimes you get to choose which problems you want to solve. We need to discern together where God is calling us to go and what work God is calling us to do. And that will help us make sure that even if we have to make a tough decision, we make the best decision we can, we make that decision together, and we wholeheartedly commit to that future together. As you know, one of our diocesan priorities is Native American ministry, engagement with our Puebloan and Mescalero Apache and Dene Navajo neighbors, looking at the doctrine of discovery and thinking about colonialism. That important priority is going to be addressed in the coming year in a way that I'm excited to share with you. The New Mexico Conference of Churches is putting together a conference that will be held virtually in January. It's going to be called Winter Talk, and it's going to be a conversation about the doctrine of discovery, involving voices from not just the mainline denominations, but voices from the Puebloan people, the Navajo people, and the Mescalero Apache people. There will be opportunities for us to learn about the doctrine of discovery and how it influenced the theology and political thinking that led to colonialism, and how that thinking and the doctrine of discovery continue to influence us today. As we as a diocese lean into this conversation, I'm going to be inviting the whole diocese to take this up as a diocesan study project. Our first step needs to be to get to know the history of this diocese, the history of the doctrine of discovery, and how that theology, how that political ideology has influenced who we are today and has influenced our relationships with our Native American neighbors. You're not sure what the doctrine of discovery is? Maybe you've heard the term, but you're not really familiar with it? Join us in January and we'll learn together. A quick update on our technology. As you know, our diocesan website was updated by the Reverend Canon Lee Curtis in order to add the COVID-19 section of the website. That COVID-19 website looks different from the ordinary website that you get to when you go to diocesrg.org. And we are in the process of working together on a new look, a simpler design, in order to help you get direct access to what you are looking for when you come to the DRG website. The fact is that in the last year or so together, we have seen a rapid increase in video content and that online form of communication. We need a website that is designed to support that kind of engagement. And so, coming in August, you're going to start to see some exciting new changes in the website. Please give us your feedback. We want this website to be useful to you. That's your weekly update for the week of Proper 11-2020, the week ending July 25th. God bless you, Diocese of the Rio Grande, and let's keep the faith together.